An American tourist in Turks and Caicos is out on bail this morning. He was arrested by airport security after they allegedly found ammo in his luggage. Ryan Watson says it was mistakenly in his bag, but he's now facing a potential mandatory minimum of 12 years behind bars. Possessing ammunition is prohibited in Turks and Caicos, but tourists were usually able to pay a fine until a recent court order mandated that even tourists leaving the country are subject to prison time. Watson spoke to our Chris Van Cleve before his bail hearing.
This went from what was supposed to be a dream vacation to a nightmare.
How do you forget that there are bullets in your bag?
The best of my knowledge, have to assume that it happened while taking a trip to Texas to hunt deer.
Senior travel advisor Peter Greenberg is joining us now with more on this. Okay, Peter, he's learning the hard way. Tell us about the changes in Turks and Caicos and whether or not there are similar changes in other countries.
Well, in the Turks and Caicos, it used to be a policy that if you got stopped with either weapons or ammunition, you would pay a fine. That was it. But they've had so many instances in the last 2 years that they decided to change the law. And now it's a very strict, as you just reported, over-the-top situation. Now, in many cases, not just in the Turks and Caicos, but in other UK Commonwealth countries, we're talking about the United Kingdom, Australia, even the old countries of, well, protectorates of Hong Kong, you're dealing with mandatory jail time. In Australia, up to 10 years in prison. In Hong Kong, 14 years in prison. We've had a number of situations in London in the last 2 years at Heathrow where people have been detained and sentenced up to 26 months in prison. Now, the good news about some of this is, in most of these cases, they are suspended sentences, but still, that risk is pretty severe.
So if you're an American, you find yourself in a situation like that, can the government help you out, the American government?
It's no different than being caught with drugs in your possession in certain countries. The U.S. consulate can help visit you and it basically help you to get information out to your own insurance companies, your protection companies, your lawyers. But no, the bottom line is these countries are taking a pretty hard stand, not to mention even countries like Japan. Now, let me give you an interesting story. We're talking about maybe 8 cases in the last 2 years in the Turks and Caicos. In the United States last year, more than 6,737 firearms were confiscated and seized at security checkpoints. And the scary part is 93% of them were loaded. But in the US, the TSA can fine you up to $14,950. How they came up with that particular fine amount is a little bit of a mystery, but they can. And then, of course, the other problem is if you get stopped there, they can restrict you to go through TSA pre-check for about 5 years, but not necessarily a jail sentence.
Well, I guess that's good. Listen, if I'm going on vacation, I'm not going anywhere where I think I have to pack a firearm in order to feel safe or enjoy myself. Peter, thank you very much.
You got it.